Hey, gentlemen, thank you for coming to have our discussion around SaaS security and some of the trends that we're seeing across our clients and customers alike. By way of quick introduction, we have Tim Bach, who leads AppOmni's security engineering group. Chris Ruhl, one of our partners in our cyber risk and reg practice, and he does a lot of work in enterprise SaaS application security. We have Snyder, who's the AppOmni's alliance leader globally for the company. And then at the end here, we have Andrea Acciarri, who is also a cyber risk and reg partner at PwC, specializing in our SaaS security, big focus on Salesforce. So welcome, thank you all for coming. So Andrea, I'll get this started with you. Maybe talk a little about some of the challenges our clients and AppOmni's customers are seeing in how they manage SaaS security and compliance monitoring.
Thank you, Bob. Well, unlike traditional software hosted on premises, SaaS applications are accessible from anywhere. And that increase the potential attack surface for malicious actors. I will summarize the challenges in three categories: lack of visibility, shadow IT, and compliance and regulatory management. Lack of visibility, what I mean by that, SaaS solutions evolve very rapidly with multiple releases every year. Many organizations are not well equipped to keep up the pace with this evolution to some extent, and they struggle in getting a comprehensive visibility of the new configurations that are introduced to the SaaS solutions and the potential risks that those configurations introduce. Shadow IT, let's understand for a second what Shadow IT really means. Shadow IT refers to the use on unauthorized or unmanaged SaaS applications within an organization. It's very common to see that there are applications installed or connected to our SaaS solutions, and it's very common to see that management struggle to understand how many things are interconnected with each other. Again, is a risk that expands the surface and potential opportunities for malicious actors to start stealing sensitive information. The third category is compliance and regulatory management. We know that we live in a very rapid and evolving regulatory scenario, especially if you look at the privacy regulations. Everything's kind of started with GDPR and then it evolved very rapidly in kind of each country in the world. Companies tend to think that just because they're using SaaS solutions, SaaS vendors are responsible for a lot of things that deal with compliance. In reality, there are a lot of responsibility that stay within the organizations. So companies need to realize that and need to realize that that compliance is a shared responsibility, and there is a lot of things that need to be done on their side.
Great, no, thank you. And I know you and I've talked a lot about that shared responsibility model, and the shadow IT resonates too. I think I've heard one of my CIO clients say, hey, anyone with a credit card can go get a SaaS application now, right? And you just go buy it, right? So it does create a lot of issues. SaaS applications and moving to the cloud in general are very big right now. And Tim, what I'd like to do is maybe have you talk a little bit about what you're seeing and what AppOmni saw as the opportunity there to develop a technology to help solve some of those problems, and maybe talk a little bit about what you guys are doing and the strategy AppOmni has.
Yeah, I mean, I think Andrea laid out a lot of the concerns that we look at very well. Really, it's a large part of why we built the technology that we did. The challenges around visibility and continuous monitoring of SaaS security posture, data access, third-party connections, compliance, those are things that much of our security engineering team, our company leadership team, that they experienced at their past roles in security organizations for large cloud and SaaS companies. In many ways, we're building the security technology that we wish we had had available to us in the past. My team's goal is that we're building great security technology designed for security practitioners, by security practitioners as a reliable partner. SaaS is really a critical part of the enterprise technology stack. In the past, I don't think we as security leaders, as security organizations, have always put the same level of technical or program-based rigor around SaaS as we do with maybe endpoint management, infrastructure, application security, the more traditional parts of a security organization's portfolio. The criticality and sensitivity of data in enterprise SaaS platforms, I would say, is at the same level as what you'd find in infrastructure or on endpoints. And so from that point of view, it really deserves the same level of continuous monitoring, the same level of security tooling that we've long put around other parts of our technology stack. From AppOmni's point of view, and one of the reasons we've worked with PwC is we want to enable the security org to build a SaaS security management program. We want to help them get visibility quickly into their SaaS environments, and then be continuously monitoring those environments for threats, security posture issues, unauthorized third-party connections, and all of that drives adherence to compliance and regulatory controls like you were talking about.
That's great. And I'm going to come back to you on that, the program side of that. But it does sound like you're making your successor's job a lot easier by building them tools that would have made your life easier back then. So it's good.
Trying to.
I'm sure they'll all thank you for that. Chris, I wanted to go to you next.
Sure.
Because you ran one of the first programs that we did with AppOmni at one of our clients. And it was a very complex set of SaaS applications. So I wanted you to maybe talk about that and maybe open it up. I know Andrea was part of that as well, but maybe just talk a little bit about what the experience was like and what the client situation was and how we helped them fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And as you said, we worked for a very large enterprise client, extremely complex environment, thousands of SaaS applications in use. Really, their challenge was they lacked visibility into the security policies and the ability to identify configuration exceptions across disparate sets of applications. So we came in and we helped assist them by starting with developing a program strategy, which I think is critically important, and also develop an operating model, and of course, considering people, process, and technology. So from a technology standpoint, AppOmni provides a technology-enabled, scalable solution that allows for robust monitoring, reporting, and the ability to remediate issues. So once we had AppOmni implemented within the environment, this enabled the security group to work with the business, not only to identify issues and exceptions to their security policies, but effectively and quickly remediate the issues, thereby enhancing the security of the organization.
Great. So, and I know from kind of the recaps of that, it was a successful project. To your point, help identify a lot. So it was great. Eric, maybe I'll flip to you because Chris just talked about kind of that first round, and you head up the global alliances for AppOmni. So just maybe talk to us about the alliance program and how it's going so far. Maybe you can pick on PwC as the example there if you want of how things are going. Go ahead.
And thanks again for having us here today. We're really excited to be here. Partners are absolutely critical to our business. We are a partner-focused company and really focused on customer success, which includes an ecosystem like PwC. We are grateful for the partnership, and we're looking forward to the future. We think we have a lot going on. Adoption of SaaS security really is in its infancy, and so I think we have a real big impact that we can make together. And ultimately, I think our impact comes in a few different ways. The first is we are a rapidly growing software company, right? Our focus is to build great software, SaaS security software for the Fortune 1000. So we're a product company first. PwC provides implementation and ongoing security services for our mutual customers. And so for us, this really creates a higher win rate within our customer base, helps with increased retention and accelerated customer adoption, which is fantastic. Second, I think we have a really nice shared vision, which, as Tim spoke about earlier and Chris did as well, when we talk about running a SaaS security program, PwC really provides the people and the process and the programs to operationalize that in some of the most complex environments in the world. And then last, I think we have a focus on delivering great outcomes for our mutual customers. And I think that's what makes really the partnership pretty special, is that we think about things in a similar way, and we treat our customers in a way that really looks out for those outcomes.
Great, thank you. And you've mentioned programs, so I know I told you I was going to come back to that, and I will. I think something really telling there, though, is, the first time we really come together, that program that Chris was talking about, I can't really understate the complexity of that environment and how we really road tested a lot of that together to solve and come, to your point, to the right outcome.
Right.
So I do want to hit on programs, right? Because we've got a technology side of this, and then everyone, I think, has mentioned program at some point in time. So maybe what I'll do is I'd like to just get everyone's, maybe Tim, your thoughts on what a good program looks like. And I'm going to tee you guys up. I'll give you a little warning. I'd like maybe each of you to talk about kind of a key aspect, and we can go right down the line if we want on one key aspect that you guys see and what makes a program successful, right? There's probably a lot of things, but maybe whatever's top of mind for you guys.
I mean, this is something that I've seen in all parts of the security organization that I've gotten the chance to work in the past, and then especially with AppOmni, and especially having this unique view of a new security segment being operationalized and getting to watch that has been very cool. But it has reinforced what I've long felt, and just like Chris said, good security programs take three things at their core: good security technology, great people. Those are your security engineers, your operations engineers, as well as the leaders, right? And then good process. So going back to what Chris said and also what Eric was talking about, you heard Chris talk about one of the largest success stories between AppOmni and PwC. And it wasn't about PwC being the experts that deployed the AppOmni technology. It was PwC working with the AppOmni technology and our client to successfully deploy and build a security program on top of that technology. Eric as well is sharing what our goal together is, which is to help these large enterprises build effective and sustainable SaaS security programs, not just drop a piece of technology on them and walk away and let them fend for themselves.
Right. Yep.
For security leaders, when you think about how your organization is going to be solving any aspect of its portfolio, it's going to involve building a program. The program is going to be based on security technology, but it's only going to be successful if that technology is operationalized with people and process, and you're empowering those people to reach out to their peers in the business, help resolve the findings that the technology delivers, and make those resolutions sustainable so that you're getting to a better place in terms of continuous monitoring and making sure that you're achieving and maintaining your security and compliance goals.
Yeah, I think you hit on something really important. It's definitely not just a technology side, because all too often we have collectively clients, customers that have things that they're on, but they're not really using. And Eric touched on making it sustainable for them. And I think you used the word, we call it sticky, right? It gets sticky if you're using it and you start seeing successes. So maybe what I'll do is I have each of you we'll just roll right down the line. Maybe Chris, Andrea first. Chris, if you could maybe talk on something that's important for you. I'd like to wrap up with Eric and we'll jump to Andrea. So
yeah, that sounds great. Thanks, Bob. I think data security is ever increasingly becoming a bigger and bigger issue. And as organizations continue at their rapid pace to drive cloud adoption, increasingly more sensitive and critical data is moving to the cloud. So it's imperative for organizations to have a SaaS security posture management strategy and program in place. There's a few things that I think you need to consider. One, understanding the type of data that's in the cloud, where and specifically where is it and what applications it's in, who has access to it, and making sure those who have access are authorized access within the corporate policy. So more than ever, organizations are being asked to demonstrate compliance with regulatory and industry frameworks. If you don't know who has access to it and where your data is and how it's stored and whether that's in compliance with these regulatory and industry frameworks, such as NIST, CIS, HIPAA, and many others, you can't demonstrate that compliance. And really, AppOmni, and we've seen this in a number of cases, provides just a great technology, scalable solution that also helps not only bring some of the accelerators, but also automation to an area that historically has been a very manually driven process and function.
No, thank you. And I'd say that the one thing I would reiterate on your point is that where the data is, who has access to it, and that's extending into customers and now too, right? It could be anyone. And really then knowing how it's all connected. Tim talked a little bit about that, like the interconnectivity now of these SaaS environments and the complexity of technology stacks our clients run issues. So I completely understand that. Andrea, how about you? For successful program, key for you?
So I think that it's important to contextualize the security assessment based on in relation to the business, right? So we know that most of the time SaaS solutions are very agile to some extent. There are plenty of use cases can be implemented in these SaaS solutions. And there is no one rule that fits all the needs, right? So it's important to find the balance between the complexity to some extent of the rules you want to run this assessment against versus the specific use cases those SaaS solution is used for. Realistically speaking, we'll all have to deal with some false positive, but have the right balance will definitely reduce and make this false positive manageable.
Yeah. And by the false positive, that reference is there may just be different rules based on how they're using.
That's correct.
Different app could be used for one way by one business, another by another, and yeah, makes sense. So you have to take it in the context. So, Eric,
Yes,
put you in a hot seat of trying to top these guys. what would be a key for you for a successful?
I don't think I'll be able to top either one of these gentlemen, but I do think a key is to. From what I've seen from our most successful customers, our most mature customers, is that they didn't try to do too much too quick. Essentially, they started with one or two applications, became proficient, built their policies, their reporting structure, alerting structures, and ultimately were able to fan out to many, many more applications over a period of time. Yeah. So thinking of the program as maybe a journey as opposed to a destination is kind of a good approach. And I think figuring out which of those early applications to run those against is a critical aspect of it.
Yeah, I really like the journey approach because it could be a very daunting task if you look across the board. Chris, the client you worked on at first, we started small, right? It start small, get a win, and then keep growing. Trying to do all that at once would have been really hard,
right?
And you would have been very busy if we did all that at once. So
that's okay too, Bob.
Well, listen, I think I've taken a lot of your time up. I really appreciate you guys coming in today to talk about this. It's an important topic, and look forward to more discussions on it. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.